Hello and welcome to another instructional video for the MiSTer FPGA system. Today we're going to be looking at the Atari Lynx core. This is the official GitHub page for the MiSTer project for the Atari Lynx. I'll put a link in the description below. And this is basically just the info sheet or whatever you want to call it, the README for it. So this does reside on your MiSTer if you've done the update all, and it brings down that and puts it in the docs directory. So it is there as well. You can look at it, but then if you haven't run update all and there's an update or something like that, you can also come here. Sometimes it's easier to read here anyway than reading on the MiSTer, but it's there. And this goes over some of the features of it and whatnot. The one thing that it does not appear to have is any sort of multiplayer. I've never ever seen any multiplayer for the Atari Lynx that works like in emulation or FPGA or whatever versus original hardware. I've only seen it working in original hardware. So that would be really nice to have something that does do that, but at this time, this core does not do it. Maybe possible, I don't know. But we'll see. So that is one downside of doing this, but it's better than if you don't have a Lynx, you don't get to play any, So this is nice. It's a good way to play it, and it's just a bummer that the multiplayer stuff doesn't work on it because that was one big fun aspect of it. It was kind of like the first MMO, except you weren't really online. You were just like, 4 guys there or whatever. Because I think almost every game that has multiplayer on it, you can have 4 usually. I think there's a few that have 2. Like I think there's a chess game or something, right, or a squash game or something like that. So those are probably 2-player. But they're most of the games have 4-player if they have multiplayer. Some of them don't even have multiplayer, but the ones that do, they all have 4-player, pretty much standard, with one exception. I think it's Todd's Adventures in Slime World, which has 8. The theoretical max was like about 16, but there aren't any games that do it. I think there's a homebrew that does it just to proof of concept, but that's it. But no, none of the original commercially licensed or whatever games did it. I never got to play with like 8 people. The most I ever got was 3, but that was great. California games, 3 players surfing. You can crash into each other. The BMX, all that stuff. So I can't show you any of that because it's not part of it. But I'm just sort of reminiscing about the fun of it because I really like this system, and it's nice to be able to do this. I'll show a couple other things maybe later when we get onto that side. It's got a lot of neat features. This is a really good core. It's just missing that one thing. So let me get into copying some files over. So we're going to use WinSCP to copy those files over. File protocol SFTP, port number 22. That's the default port, so you shouldn't have to change that. It should automatically come up pretty much whatever program you're using. This is the host name. It's just the IP address, which I'll show you how to find when we get over to the MiSTer side. You just take that, whatever's on your screen, and put it into your settings here. If you prefer a different program, you'll be familiar with how to set it up, and you'll just plug these settings into it. Username is root, and the default password is the number 1. If you do have questions on how to do the WinSCP, I do have a video. It's the second video in the playlist on the MiSTer stuff. I'll have it linked in the description below and at one of the cards at the end of the video. And like that, we log in. And make sure that you have run update all. That is the first video in the playlist. It will also be linked in the description and in the card. And once you run that, then you'll have the Atari Lynx core installed. So this folder will be ready for you to copy the files over. So we go to Media, Fat, Games, where all the games go, and then Atari Lynx for Atari Lynx. Pretty simple. All the Atari Lynx games that were commercially produced and released are about 18 meg uncompressed. So it's not very big, but you can compress them, save a little bit of space, compress individually each game. And it won't take long to copy over. There were some homebrews and such too, and prototypes. you can go ahead and use, look at those two if you want. So before I copy those over, I'd like to ask you to like and subscribe. Helps me out a little bit. Gives me the motivation to keep going because this is a benefit to people. I like when people put comments and say, "Hey, thanks." If you uh, liked the video or if it was helpful for you, just let me know. Or if you have questions, go ahead. I try to answer the questions as best I can. That's what I'm doing this for, is to help people who have MiSTers or want to get MiSTers and want to see how you set things up. It's really pretty simple. Takes a little bit, but I find it very simple. But it's much easier when you have a guide. So let's go ahead and copy those files over. Also, if you're so inclined, hit the notification bell. I send one of these. I try to do one of these a week, so that way you'll know when it comes down and just be aware of it, and you can watch it whenever. But that's up to you. Obviously no requirement to do so. So that's it. Boom, they're copied over. We need to switch over to the MiSTer side. So that'll take just a moment while I cut over. And there we are. Not too long, I hope. All right, so we're on the MiSTer, and then we go back, and then to the left, and this is where the IP address, where it says IP 192.168.0.105. Whatever it says on your screen, that's what you put into that other configuration for the connection. You put that in there. It may change, so if you have trouble, come and look at it and see what it is. Mine occasionally will change to a different number, like 106 or something like that, and then it'll go back. If I had if I did an update all and it got it had a restart or something, sometimes the IP will change. So you can check that if things aren't going right, like that. So now we go back to here. We're going to go to console, and we're going to go to Atari Lynx. It says insert game. That's what the Atari Lynx did. That's the screen you see if you didn't have a game in the machine. So let's go load one. We're going to load the classic pack-in California games. And it loads right up. Well, in a second or two. Got a little title screen, splash screen, whatever you call it. And then the main title screen with the intro. It's nice music. All right, let's go in. Okay, so here's our games. Let's do some classic surfing. And unlike some of the other, or maybe all the other California games, you go to the left and not the right. I think Master System, maybe Commodore 64 or something like that, have you go to the right, but this one goes to the left for whatever reason. This is the California games I played most back in the day. Actually, I think it's the only system I have it on. I have played it on some of the other systems because I have friends that had it and stuff like that, but not as good as I used to be. Why did I go right into the... right in there, huh? Alright, let's just end it. Are we having fun yet? That's cool. Alright, so that is that. Let's check some settings here. We got rewind capture. I can turn that on. And then it will let me do a rewind. Now, you have to configure the button. So let's go here. And define Atari Lynx button. So right, left, down, up. Even though there is some default ones. A, B, option 1, option 2, pause, fast forward, save states, rewind, No, I forgot about this. Let's see. There's rewind. See? Rewind. Now that slows it down, you know, and you get the audio gets a little bit whatever. And then there's it's in the instructions, you know, in the README as to how that works. You can turn it off. And then the fast forward. Where's the fast forward? There's the fast forward. So if you want to fast forward, you can fast forward. And all right, so I turn those off. And there's like a turbo mode and such. You can mess around with that. Oh, makes the CPU, I don't know. That's turbo mode. So that's that. And then here's the save states, right? So save state slot 1. So it is the button and pause and down, I think. There, save state 1. It's whatever button you use to whatever you set it to. So it's whatever button you have pause, whatever button you have down, whatever button you have for the save state button. And then to load it is save state button, pause, and up. And you can see that it just restored from the save state. So those are the fancy features that this core has. There's one other feature. And let's load another game. Let's load Klax, because that's a vertical game. And there's Klax, but you can't really, you know, turn your head sideways, guys. Now, unfortunately, this isn't going to be, well, I could if you're on your phone and then you turn your phone sideways or something. But let us do this. What we're supposed to do for this is go to audio and video. Here's setting audio and video, orientation, vertical. And now you have a vertical one. And then it does 180 in case it's, you know, upside down. But it doesn't have a flip for the vertical. Or for the horizontal. Although you can flip it and then... Yeah. Alright. So that's what you do for the vertical mode. This would be really neat, you know, vertical video on the phone, right? But I'm not doing a vertical video, so you're going to have black bars. Let's play a little bit of the classic Klax. I think we make a big X for a secret warp. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, I did have this game back in the day. Okay, so we do this, this. There's that. All right, there we go. We're getting there. All right. The green, huh? Oops. Well, that's okay. I didn't completely mess that up. There's only one problem. Alright, blue's gonna be the... Oh. Oh, it could be yellow too then. Whatever. It's not gonna be though. Yellow, blue. 1, 2, 3, blue, 1. Okay, there we go. Oops! That's what happens, you mess up. Now I need a purple one there. There we go. Yeah, I just need a purple one. And there's a purple one. And what I should have done was try to get them all the same color. Oh, I almost got it. It does give you a, let's continue. But I almost had it. I just messed up a little bit. What do we get going here? All different colors, come on. Well, now it has to be brown. Alright. Need that one. Ah! That's okay, though. That won't mess me up. Alright. Usually it brings a... There it is. There! Ta-da! Secret warp. Nice warp bonus. Wave 56. All right. Well, I'm not going to go through the whole Klax thing. That was just a neat thing we could do. That's all you need. There's a few games that are vertical. I know Klax is and Gauntlet is. Those are two I know off the top of my head. There's probably some others, but I can't think of them. And that's really all there is for this. Let me just pause so that don't have it rattling in the background. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. And maybe I'll see you on another video. Take care.